Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Wednesday and that means a new video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about what I bring to bridal shows, how I conduct the whole bridal show to get the most possible clients and to have the most success with a bridal show. So first I want to preface this by saying I actually don't do many bridal shows and I'll explain why. My ideal client in terms of like bridal shows that are huge convention centers, those kind of bridal shows, my brides are not at those shows. I've done a lot of market research on this and I've asked a lot of my brides if they attend these types of shows and they say basically no. However, the show that I will be attending tonight is a smaller venue-based show in Annapolis, and it's hosted by the venue that wants to showcase their own venue and all their favorite vendors, and that's how I got invited to be a part of the show. My brides are at that kind of show. So that kind of pre-qualifies them so that I know what kind of client they are, that they're interested in this type of venue, in this type of space. It really helps me get a feel for what kind of clients are gonna be there. So I just wanted to explain that really quickly. All right, so if you are joining me in the live stream or in the replay, go ahead, hit the thumbs up button. Let me know if you've ever done a bridal show. If you're thinking about doing one, what are your biggest questions? I wanna answer them today. Let's dive right in. So I have everything here off screen that I'm gonna be taking tonight. So everything is ready. I wanna first start by showing you how I'm going to decorate my table. So my table at the show is going to be just a rectangle. So it's going to be, I think, 2.5 feet deep and maybe like 4 or 5 feet wide. It's a standard size. As soon as I figured out what size it was gonna be, I went ahead and I ordered some linens in my brand color. This is just a matte, like, polyester or something. It's just very basic, but this really helps my table to pop. When you first walk in, you just see everything all at once, and then that way you're not overcome with a bunch of white and you have nowhere to look. So I think that this really helps support my overall brand colors. The next thing that will be on my table is a giant sign that says my business name. So here's the sign. I had this made at a local printer and it hangs on the front of the table. So I can't really show you it, but it hangs on the front of the table. And it's so funny because when I printed this, I actually discovered that there are hearts in my logo. Look at that. Never knew that until I had it printed to be an unreal size. So this really helps get my name out right away. People know what I do, that I'm not a florist, that I'm not a planner, that I'm a wedding photographer. And I think that that's super, super important. Your business and your brand and your logo need to be front and center for that brand recognition. It's gonna take people, 5, 10 times to see your brand, see your name, see your face before they put that together and they really feel like they know you. So the more times you can get that in front of them, the better. Okay, so that's the table. The next thing I have are information packets. Again, this is branding, this is recognition, this is repetition, right? So this is the little brand packet. On the front, it's a vellum envelope. These are 5 by 7. And I don't know if you can see, but I actually have a stamp on the front, and this stamp is white. And then on the back, it has a sticker, my logo again. Inside of this is just a 5 by 7 card, and it has a few pictures, and my business card information. And so it also has my business card inside. So I think that this really helps stand out instead of just handing them a business card that they're gonna throw in their bag and completely forget who it came from. This helps because it also has pictures. So they can be like, oh yeah, I remember. I talked to her, this is the same images I saw. So try to use the same images in your branding information that you leave with them as you do in your display. That's just a little tip. Okay, so what else? Next thing I bring along to the show are sample albums. So I use sample albums, all different sizes, all different textures. I have one here in a linen texture, and I also have a leather one. I would just have it kind of open like this on the table, and then that way it encourages them to kind of flip through. I also bring print boxes, which I think some of you guys have seen here on the channel, but essentially they're just prints, loose prints, 4 by 6s inside of a box. In addition to that, I have a framed cover that I photographed, a magazine cover. So I put this out, and I also have a magazine here of a recent feature that my company was published. So I have it open to the feature. And so I'll say, oh, we were here, this is a 10-page spread, this is my work. And it's just another way to get social proof, to say, this isn't my first rodeo, I know what I'm doing, I've been published. So anytime that I can share or showcase that I've been published, I'm gonna do that. All right, let me look at these questions. Nimtam, hi, welcome. Where do you order your albums? I use White House Custom Color, Nations, and Miller's. Okay, let's see. I've never been to one or done one, Nimtam said. I think, yeah, this is gonna be really, really helpful for you if you're interested. How do you find out about these bridal shows, and how far in advance are you signed up for your spot? I was asked to be a part of this last year. So these are things that I do every year. So what I did was I reached out to a few local venues that I saw were doing these shows every year. So they're small. They're venues that want to do open houses so that prospective brides can come and look at the venue and see what it would be like. So this would just be a waterfront venue. They do their own bridal shows. So it's really cool because the bridal shows are actually free for everyone to attend. So brides are way more likely to come. They bring in caterers. There's free food and drinks, and it's such a fun time to see the space. So as a bride, it's really pressure free, and then they bring in their favorite vendors, and that's where I come in. So I reached out to a bunch of these venues in Annapolis and Edgewater in my local area, and I said, hey, if you ever do one of these in the future, if you're open to having another photographer there, I'm your girl. So I sent out a lot of cold emails, and that's how I got on this list. So I did this show last year, and I'm going to be doing it again. So that's how I got on this list, because I was a vendor. They ask a lot of vendors sometimes to even donate like a free service for a raffle. So I'm donating a portrait session, so that kind of thing. So it really helps them look good to be able to say, hey, we're going to have all this amazing free food, all kinds of raffles, come to our venue. And those brides and grooms are way more likely to book their venue if they've walked around in person. So that's why I'm a part of these shows. So I've known about this a few months out. I think I booked this maybe like 3 months ago. But it's not even like a huge deal for me to go to these, just because I already have all the stuff. And that's the biggest investment, right, guys? So I know that this stuff is kind of hard. In addition to everything else that I showed you, I will have more of these little displays on my table. I will have this award by The Knot Best of Weddings. Any awards that I've ever received, I will print, I will create a display. I have Joy Michelle Photography from Wedding Wire 2016. I also have 2015. And then I have a little printout of little like badges from blogs that I have been featured on. So this is just more social proof. I want to show that I have work out in the world, and that people have been really happy with me as a service provider. So I put these on the table as well. Of course, I also have my business cards, and these are my business cards. So I bring a lot of those. I have an extra couple hundred just in case. And I have some logo cookies. This is just like for fun. I had these made for the last show, and I had some left over. So I had a recent show in Annapolis at a completely different venue last month, and that's how I was asked to do this video. So these are my logo cookies, and these are a fun way to, yet again, use your brand, use your logo, and have that really fun little takeaway. Because I'm not a caterer, I'm not like a food provider, there's not as much fun at my table. It's like hard to lure people in, which sounds totally creepy, but you know what I mean. So I'm like, hey, come take a cookie, take an information packet, helps you stand out. Again, it's all about standing out so that people remember you. I'm also going to bring this little vintage camera to have on the table, just like off in the corner if it fits, because it's what I do, it's cute, it's very Instagrammable, that kind of thing. I talked about these print boxes here. So here's one of them now that we're to the point in the box where I can reach it. This is the print box. This is great because I encourage brides, pull these tabs, pull them out, get your hands on the print, and it really facilitates questions. So they'll see something and they'll say, oh, how many did they have in their bridal party? Oh, I really like that she used a garter. It's blue. It was at her something blue. And it just helps have a conversation, because I'm not pushing a sale at any point in this entire process. I'm asking them questions, and I think that they're gonna love my work, I'm gonna love them, and that's how we'll jive. And otherwise, it's okay, they're not my client. Okay, so that's all the work. I also bring canvases. So I have 3 of these big canvases. I put these up on easels. So they really just stand up on a little like tripod of sorts. And I put one of these on either side of the table. So if the table's here, put one on this side, put one on the other side, and then my banner's in the front. So it really helps everything kind of come together. These really like bring people in. They're definitely showstoppers. So it's a way to get some height on the table, so not all my albums are completely flat. So this stands up, and then everything flat is on the bottom. So helps add some dimensionality. All right, let me put this back in the cart. So do you guys have any questions about the show, about talking to clients, about leave behinds, about networking, and what these can do for your business. I'd love to hear them. Hop in the comments and let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I do also bring an iPad, a small iPad. It has about 40 images or so on a continuous loop, just on a slideshow. So that helps keep things moving. It feels less static and gives it some, I guess, some interactivity. So a lot of times that it gives me another way to show more of my work. So a lot of times people will say, have you worked at this venue or have you worked at this venue? And so I'll go ahead and put a bunch of different images within that gallery so that I can navigate to it. I can let them know, hey, this is where somebody did their first look, or this about local venues, especially in my area and where I work most often. That's what a lot of brides are wanting to see. Okay, Shade Star asks, how much of your day is spent at the bridal show? Okay, that's a great question. I set up about an hour before it starts. Tonight it's from 6:30, I think, to 8:30. So it's only a 2-hour show. I think there's just a few hundred people, maybe less. It's not a huge show. It's not super overwhelming. Everybody kind of mills in at the same time. Everybody eats. They come up to you. If they need a photographer, they'll introduce themselves. And at the end, they do a raffle. So it's only going to be like a 3-4 hour commitment on my part. Great question. Alda says, how do you make your portfolio boxes? How do you get to choose the box colors and the layouts? So I ordered them. They're from Luxe Bindery, and I got to order the color, sizes, everything. So each compartment fits 100 prints, and I decided to do one box in like a gray blue and one in a pink, and then I chose images from weddings that I wanted to show. So yeah, it's completely customizable. All right, Stephanie said, my local wedding show gets filled up 4 to 6 months in advance, so start looking now. Yeah, I think when I first reached out to these venues and I pitched them and said, I really want to do your show, they weren't available for that next show. So I think this was like 2 summers ago, and they had a fall show. So I asked to be in the fall show. They said, we already have our photographer for the show, or our 2, because they don't like to have more than just a few vendors, because then your competitors and that kind of thing. So they like to keep it like their best of the best. But they said, we will have another show. Do you want to get on the wait list? And I said, absolutely yes. So I had to wait to get on that list for sure. A lot of times you have to work at the venue too. So sometimes it's hard, and sometimes you'll have to pay something to be a part of these shows, and sometimes you won't. So it completely depends. Okay, Alexis asks, have you ever done a large bridal show? Thoughts? I haven't done a show where it's thousands of people in a convention center, and I spoke to this a little bit in the beginning, but I'll really quickly answer it now. Essentially, my brides aren't there. Because I do very few weddings a year, I'm a boutique wedding photographer in a fine art field. I just don't think that that's how my clients are finding their photographers. And if they do go, it's more so just for fun, to drink mimosas and be with their bridal party, just as like a fun thing to do. They're not looking at these vendors very, very seriously, and that's just my opinion. I've asked around a lot about this, and most of my brides find out about me in other ways and would never go to a show like that. They're in magazines, they're on Style Me Pretty, they're asking planners, they're just in a different mindset, if that makes sense. So no, I don't do those. I have friends that do huge bridal shows and have a lot of success with it, but again, their business models look very different than my own. All right, Stephanie, I'm late to the party. How do you organize your booth? I've seen some vendors do the giant walls, the grid setup. What do you think is best? Stephanie, if you want to, you can go ahead and rewatch this. The replay is gonna be up. I talked about it all. I just have one table, and I have lots of stuff on that table. Okay. Show My Charm, let's see, your question. Do you discuss your collections and prices, or just give them a booklet to look over? Yes, I do. I don't hide any of my pricing, especially at these shows. If they ask specifically about pricing, it's many times because they're wondering if they're actually can even afford me. Like, they don't want to waste their time, especially when you find someone at one of these shows, you know, it's higher end, and they know in their minds what their budget is. So what I'll do is I'll have a clipboard. I actually have one in here. And in the back of the clipboard, so I will collect email addresses on the front, and I just create like a blank sheet. Oh my gosh, Sean, thank you so much for that super chat. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. So on the front of the clipboard, I collect their email addresses, and then underneath, I just pull it out, and I have my collections, and I'll tell them, these are my collections, this is the average investment, I have 3 collections, and I let them know I'm not hiding my prices. Feel free to take a cell phone picture. I don't let them take it because my collections change. By the time it's winter, they could go up. So I don't want an old collection sheet out in the world for someone to get disappointed about later if my prices were to change. So I have it and I say, feel free to take a picture and let me know. I can send you this. And brides love that because they just don't like this secret game where they say, how much are you? And then someone says, well, let's get coffee. I personally don't like that either. I feel like that's a runaround. I get frustrated if somebody won't tell me their prices and they say, oh, well, you know, I want to sit down and get to know you. And I get that as a sales angle, but we're already face to face. We're already to the point where they're at a bridal show, they're engaged, they're in Annapolis, we have something in common and they're interested. If they're asking for your prices, they're interested. So sorry, I'm like on my soapbox right now, but yes, I share my pricing with those brides, and I think it really helps them to know whether or not they're serious. And I have booked brides through these shows. I've done 3 different venue shows a couple different times. So each venue has a yearly show. And one of those shows, it only had, I want to say like 50 or 70 people attend, and I booked 3 weddings. And that is a crazy conversion rate because it's how qualified these brides are. They're coming in and they're ready to book. They know that they love the venue. They know that they have everything else set up. And if your date is available with me, they're more likely to book. So that helps me to know that these shows are not a waste of my time. I mean, in the beginning, I just did them because, you know, get your name out there and meet up with other vendors. But now I know that I actually book brides from these shows. So it's exciting. So I know, you know, odds are tonight I'm going to meet some of my 2017 couples, or 2018, maybe 2017, but 2018, 2019 couples, and that's super exciting. So yeah, if you got value out of this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me your comments and questions. The other really cool thing about bridal shows is that you get to meet other vendors. So I know a planner friend of mine is attending the bridal show with me tonight, and we asked to be right next to each other because we've done a lot of weddings together, and this magazine feature that will be on the table actually has her work because she planned the event and I took the pictures. So whenever we go through it, I can easily say, hey, this is the planner, she's phenomenal, I've worked with her, and it gets them to be more comfortable. Like, not only are you already by invite only, so you already a level up in their mind, but then I say I vouch for her, they're more likely to think that that planner is solid. So we're gonna send work back and forth to each other, and that's huge. You know, those vendor connections are huge. All right, guys, what are your questions about bridal shows? Let me know, leave me comments. If you're live, hop on. If it's a replay, leave me your comments, ask me your questions. I'm gonna try to link as much as possible everything that we talked about, the albums, the canvases, the little leave behind guys, all this different stuff. Most of the stuff I was able to find on Amazon or somewhere else online. And I think that's everything that I bring along to the show, essentially. But yeah, guys, whatever questions you have, feel free to leave me them. I will be sure to circle back and answer them. And if you are interested to see what this looks like completely done in its entirety, I'm gonna be on Instagram tonight. My Instagram is Joy Michelle. You can go find me and follow me, and I'm gonna be doing some live streams and showing you guys like the setup and what it looks like. And once the event is live, I'll probably do some more then too. So follow me on Joy Michelle on Instagram, and we will continue this talk and this discussion. Okay, Shade Star said, thank you so much. I enjoy your videos. I'm still in the early stages of putting together my business. You are welcome. I'm so excited for you. I think that these resources are going to be hugely helpful for you. I hope that you are a part of my Facebook group, Photo Boss. If you're not, and if you guys are watching this video either live or in the replay and you're not in the group, you have to be. It's free and the community is incredible. There's so much knowledge in these groups and on this channel that I didn't have when I first started out. You know, like when I was starting in this whole industry, I wanted to learn this stuff, and there was nothing like this out there. So it's really cool to facilitate such a community and a learning space that didn't exist when I started. Alda says, how do you take all this stuff to the venue? Good question. I have a cart. I'll show you. This is kind of on a tripod, so let me just like tilt this down. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it will. I don't know. Hold on. I have to unplug this. Okay. There is a cart here. I don't know if you can see it. This is a little like shopping cart almost, and it rolls on the bottom. So I'm gonna put everything in the cart. I'm gonna roll it to my car, unload it, take a few trips. Like I said, I'm gonna be there with a planner friend, and I'm gonna help her set up her booth, and she's gonna help me with mine, because I am working alone tonight. I don't have an assistant or anything, and I will be sad without my team. Sometimes my husband comes with me, Felipe, but he's working tonight, so he can't. But it's a very good question. It takes a few trips. Things get a little sweaty, but it's cool. Sometimes I just change outfits right before people show up because there's a lot of setup involved. Alda says, we'll be there with you. Thank you. You guys are awesome for cheering me on and supporting me. I'm gonna hop off. Leave me your questions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, guys.